Mike Gravel has zero fucks to give. And he has essentially put a campaign ad that is brutal, devastating, that goes directly after Joe Biden. One, Bernie Sanders. Pay attention. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. So one, Mike Gravel. I'm not going to take credit for this. However, this show has been stridently for one Mike Gravel, and I definitely wanted Mike Gravel to be on that campaign stage, that debate stage. Now, Mike Gravel has hit the number of donations, individual donations, that he needed to be on the debate stage. Gravalanche. Now, whether or not he's on the debate stage or not, it's unclear at this point. I haven't heard any news on that front. I need to look that up. But he's hit the number that he needed and the number that he was looking for. So it's very possible that Mike Gravel is going to be on that next debate stage. If anybody deserves to be on this stage, he does. And I've said before, as a lefty, you should want as many lefties on that debate stage as possible. Whether or not they're going to win the presidency is almost besides the point. I want Gravel knocking that stuff down. I want neocons having to respond to these guys. And I want these guys in front of the American public so the public itself can make its determination on what it wants. I think it wants less war. I think it wants higher taxes on the top marginal tax rate. I think it wants an expansion of Social Security. I think it wants healthcare, Medicare for all. I think it wants those things. So I want those things presented to the public for it to make its choice. I know the public is not entirely ideologically bent in this way, that they have certain ideas, things that they may agree with more or less. But at the end of the day, I think these guys on the debate stage is better for the left. I think it's a plus. The more people putting their opinions out is better for the left. Mike Gravel doesn't sheepishly go after Joe Biden in this next campaign ad. He goes full bore. Take a look at this. God, I remember Mike Gravel going back to the last 2008 election. And when he was on that debate stage, he was a lion even back then. Let's take a listen to him.
I have the most progressive record of anybody running.
Mr. President, I will vote to authorize the use of military force against Iraq. I do not believe this is a rush to war. I believe it's a march to peace and security.
I do not view abortion as a choice or a right. I do not vote for funding for abortion.
The concept of busing, that we are going to integrate people, is a rejection of the whole movement of black pride.
Both political parties will understand the need for more police officers, of more prisons.
We have predators on our streets. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
I don't think 500 billionaires are the reason why we're in trouble.
The folks at the top aren't bad guys.
I have the most progressive record of anybody running.
I'm Mike Gravel, and I approve this message.
That question, let's linger on that question for a bit. Is this the best that the Democratic Party has to offer the American populace? Joe Biden, a dinosaur from previous years on. And all of the things that Gravel put in this video, like I said, he's going at him with a sledgehammer, are actually right. They're correct. It's true that Joe Biden was supporting those things. Joe Biden has been in politics for God knows how long. And I've made the argument on this channel for the last 3 or 4 months that Joe Biden will flame out. That I have a hard time believing that Joe Biden can get through a Democratic primary. He has tried to run for president for the last 40 years and has always failed in his task. He's failed at that task for a reason. Gravel didn't even add in the plagiarism charges in the other campaign. That's something else that is just kind of lingering in the winds. And also something he was doing this campaign season. Is this the best that the Democratic Party has to offer? That is a decent and fundamental question. And I think that's somewhat of a fair question that Gravel is asking. So shout out to Gravel. God, I hope Gravel gets on that debate stage. And Sanders, take note. This is a Democratic primary. I don't know how you're going to have a political revolution without a little bit of blood spilled. And I don't mean that in a literal sense. I mean that in a political sense. When you were on that debate stage with Joe Biden, you were sheepishly putting out stuff. You would mention Honduras. Well, you were mentioning Honduras not in a random way, but you were mentioning it because Joe Biden was in office with Obama when the coup took place in Honduras. Hillary Clinton even put it in her book. You mentioned Honduras for a reason, but you didn't attach it to Joe Biden. You just mentioned it as if the rest of the public knew what you were talking about. I guess I'm making the point, take note. Take note. Whether you take note from Kamala Harris, not her disingenuousness, more so her ability to put a knife in the person she was trying to go after, or Gravel. Gravel doesn't look like a lunatic when he's doing this. Everything Gravel put up in this ad was correct and was right. It was right. You can make your vision, your unified vision of what you want the country to look like. You can give these people a vision of a better country. You can do all that. But sometimes in order to do that, you may have to put down what the other person is doing. And I have to be honest, Joe Biden is in the number one position. You are in the number two position. You need to go after that position, meaning you need to carve votes out of Joe Biden's hide. Joe Biden is running basically on electability. He's running on electability. I don't think electability is Joe Biden's strong suit. And maybe that needs to be the thing that you hit him on. In fact, I think you need to hit him on a few points. But I would say start here. What Gravel is saying. In that next debate, it's invariably something is going to come up that Joe Biden has been horrible on. You have to be willing to throw a punch on him. Again, you don't have to look like a bad guy in doing so. You can still create your vision, but some time needs to be devoted to offense. And sometimes offense needs to be essentially going after your opponent. Shout out to Gravel. And congratulations for getting on the debate stage. By the way, Chelsea Manning, $1,000 a day. She's still in prison. $1,000 a day. I don't want to forget it. Thanks, so. And the moment that I'm about to end the video, I'm not going to complain because I appreciate you supporting the show. Let's see. Kills for a living. Jamal, when are you going to finally see Bernie is just a sheepdog? He's not there to win. He's there to win. He's there to win. Back in 2016, I don't think he was there to win. I think he was there to push his agenda. 3% of the population knew who he was. He caught fire. This year around, I think he looks at it as the movement that I've built over the last few years. I want to be able to bring it to fruition. He wants to win. I don't know what other people's plans for him are. He wants to win. And as a testament to such, you don't have anti-Bernie Sanders meetings if you don't believe that Bernie Sanders is trying to win. Just saying. I mean, you can't deny the man his objectives. You can't deny the man his objectives. Joe Biden is a devastating ad against Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a devastating ad against Joe Biden. Dave Alberts. Look, Joe Biden is running. He calls himself, it's funny they call himself progressive. I think the better question really is this the best that the Democratic Party has to offer? You have a younger generation that is going to be out in spades in this next coming up election. And those people are backing Sanders to the hilt. They're backing him to the hilt. The older generation are backing Biden. But I would wager that if you start getting into why and you start asking policy stuff, I think they will be a little bit less on it in regards to why. I strongly suspect that the reason is because Joe Biden has been around forever. I was talking to my mom about this, and she was like, well, yeah, we've known Joe Biden forever. Joe Biden has always been around. He's been a dinosaur. He's been a creature of Washington for God knows how long. He has a 90s campaign, even now. And it's like, so it's this electability thing is kind of being intermingled with this thing of people just know who he is. It's kind of a name recognition issue. I think that has a certain lifespan to it. I don't think that's something, whether that's enough gusto within that can get some out of the election or the primary. I doubt it. Joe Biden has been falling in the polls, and we haven't even gotten to the first, we've only gone through one debate. But we'll see. My point to one Mr. Bernie Sanders, and at some point you're going to have to throw a punch. And it's going to have to be somebody that's standing across from you on the debate stage that is wearing a D beside their name. You, for your career, have been an independent senator from Vermont, and I think you need to accept such and kind of go with that notion that there is a distinctiveness between who you are and who they are. And even though you might not be able to play that to the hilt because you're running in a Democratic primary, you do need to play on that because that's the thing that's going to allow you to get out of this primary with a win. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but and maybe I'm wrong on this from the standpoint of the primary. Maybe that's a strategy that you use once you get out of the primary. But I would take a lesson from Kamala Harris and Mike Gravel. Throw a punch. It shouldn't be disingenuous. It shouldn't be nonsensical. But if it's something legitimate, yes, absolutely. I'll end it here. Thanks, so.